Hey guys, just a little heads up for today's response. There's some, let's say, salty language in the video I'm responding to this week. So, if any of you are of a sensitive disposition, you might want to steady yourself for some colorful expletives. And if you're somewhat immature, you might want to leave the room entirely. Bye. Fine. I was directed to yet another video talking about atheism. Let's see what they have to say.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is gonna be, you read the title, 9 Reasons Why Atheism is a Fucking Joke. Alright, want to get this started. Alright, because it's time to basically speak my mind.
Well, to start, not to be pedantic or anything, but that's not the title. The title on the video is 9 Reasons Why Atheism Evolution Sucks, not why it's funny. But let's go with what you said and see why atheism is so jocular.
Number 1. Atheists believe that we came from a single cell. They can't explain, the first singularity. They believe that we fucking evolved from a cell that fucking evolved and grew little arms out of a pond, out of a rock, and over millions of years. I mean, that's fucking ridiculous. It really fucking is.
What's ridiculous about that? Small changes over many generations are likely to accumulate if those mutations will cause an organism to have a better chance to survive and breed. Single-celled creatures will lead to multicellular ones. Mutations that are beneficial are kept and propagated because they are beneficial and help the organism survive. Even an almost useless limb, just a few cells in length, is still more useful than nothing at all in manipulating the environment or moving a creature. Over many, many generations, these slight appendages will become even more refined and useful, resulting in antennae, fins, tentacles, and yes, even arms and legs.
Another reason why atheism is stupid. Atheists, they read a book and suddenly they think they're experts. They think they're geniuses. They think because they read a couple books from Richard Dawkins, hey, now I'm an expert on the entire universe, yeah.
It's not just atheists that can be like this. It's a blind spot in humanity known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. Basically, it's where people lack awareness of their lack of knowledge on a subject and assume they comprehend it better than they really do. In other words, ignorant people often don't know how ignorant they are and think they understand a subject when they really don't. As I said, it's not just atheists that suffer from this. Many of the videos I've responded to are people who think they understand scientific theories, like evolution, much better than they actually do. I personally know that I'm not that smart, so I have my scripts read and evaluated by my wife, who is an expert in biology, to point out the many scientific mistakes I make when I first write these out. Hence the boilerplate at the end of these videos. The same goes for my grammar, but replace biology with journalism. I've often lost track of how many revisions I've had to make to these scripts.
I don't know if you atheists checked, even know this, but in order to say that there is no God, you would have to have absolute knowledge of the entire fucking universe.
Which is why I don't say there is definitely no creator deity out there. My position is that Which is why I don't say there is definitely no creator deity out there. My position is that I've not been given any reason to accept there's a creator deity, so I have no belief in one. In the same way, there isn't any evidence, so I don't believe, but can't say for certain there is no such mythical creatures like unicorns, leprechauns, or Nickelback fans. One time.
Number 3. Here's another reason why atheism is a joke. Even Darwin admitted that the lies of evolution during his twilight years. he realized that maybe, I was wrong. He was a fucking bullshitter, Darwin.
Ah, the good old Lady Hope story. Apparently, Elizabeth Reed Cotton claimed, and was refuted by Darwin's family, that she was at Charles Darwin's deathbed when he recanted his theory of evolution via natural selection. This revelation came out over 30 years after his death. You'd think it would have made the papers much sooner. And here's the thing. Even if the story was true, and he said his theory was wrong, that doesn't negate the evidence supporting it. Natural selection is not accepted as the driving force of evolution simply because Darwin claimed it, but because the evidence has verified it. If Newton had, for whatever reason, recanted and dismissed his life's work on his deathbed, the laws of motion would still be valid and accepted.
Number 4. If humans evolved, why they're still monkeys? They're saying that we evolved from monkeys, and they teach this heathen ideal to this day in the schools. To this day in our schools, they're teaching evolution. Yeah, we evolved from a cell, grew arms, we're monkeys. I mean, yeah, look at that shit. They believe in monkey men. Fucking monkey men, yeah.
No, I don't know about any monkey men out there. Well, I do have this buddy Tweeter who claims to hang out with a monkey man. But then again, both are known to do questionable things when hard up for cash, so I don't know how literally I should take them. Seriously, humans and modern-day monkeys do share a common ancestor. At some point, roughly 25 million years ago, there was a split from the monkey family, which resulted in the great ape family, including humans. Yes, we are apes. The reason that there are still monkeys is because modern-day monkeys came from one branch of that split, while apes, like us, came from another branch.
I don't know what sounds more ridiculous, honestly. They say that believing in a sky daddy, a spaghetti monster, whatever they want to call it, they say that's ridiculous. I think this is ridiculous, that we evolved from fucking monkeys. Am I supposed to fucking believe that shit? Seriously, am I supposed to fucking believe that we evolved from monkeys? Get the fuck out of here.
Evolution is less ridiculous because, well, we have evidence for it. The Lenski experiments have shown that organisms can adapt to their environment, and that those adaptations will be passed on if they allow the organism to thrive. Using fossil evidence, we can trace the gradual change from one species to another through transitional fossils. Speaking of fossils...
Here's another thing. Number 5, carbon dating is not accurate. They like to fucking throw this carbon dating. That shit's not accurate. The fuck out of here with that.
Oh, it's not accurate? I'm glad you cleared that up. Why do you say it's not accurate? Let's talk about carbon dating. Here's a rough rundown on how radiocarbon dating works. Cosmic rays will interact with nitrogen in the atmosphere to create carbon-14. Plants and animals will consume this carbon-14, which happens to be radioactive. When the organism dies, it obviously stops consuming things like carbon-14, which, since it's radioactive, decays. So, you can use the measurement of a radioactive carbon-14 in the sample to roughly determine how old an organism is. The less carbon-14 that can be detected, the older the organism. Since the half-life of carbon-14 is around 5,730 years, it's useful for dating once-living organisms up to about 50,000 years. Any older than that, and the extremely faint radioactivity, coupled with other contaminants, will make any estimates of age worthless. Now, he is right in that you can't use carbon dating as a clock, saying, for example, our readings say this particular organism died at 10:57 in the morning, 2,305 years, 1 month, and 27 days ago. We can, however, use it to give a rough estimate as to when a creature died. When testing anything, you're going to get slight false positive readings of carbon-14 due to contamination from outside sources. For example, background radiation caused by the cosmic rays that created carbon-14 from nitrogen in the first place. This possible contamination is usually faint enough that it can be discounted when examining organisms that died in the past 50,000 years, but will result in any testing giving the appearance of minute traces of carbon-14 throwing off any measurements slightly. Anyway, this is all a moot point, since evolution works on such a large time scale that in general, carbon dating is pretty much useless for dating transitional fossils that would be much older than the 50,000 years that carbon dating is accurate to. That's why other methods, like potassium-argon dating, are used to measure the age of rock layers fossils are found between to give a rough estimate as to when they were buried.
Here's another thing that number 6, the liberal atheist media, they refuse to acknowledge the documented cases of sick people being healed every day.
Every day? Really? I love how he doesn't give any examples, so I had to find my own examples of miraculous healing. Every modern case I've come across is a body doing better than expected. Don't get me wrong, that's great news, but not exactly miraculous. The standard miracle healing is of course the regrowing of a missing limb, something the body can't do on its own. The best case I could find of the God healing an amputee example was Miguel Juan Pellicer, back in 1637, almost 500 years ago. Not exactly an everyday occurrence. His leg was broken in Calanda, and apparently, when it was feared to be gangrenous, took a 50-day trip to Zaragoza, where he ostensibly had it amputated and took up begging. 2 years later, he returned home and continued begging, when one evening his mother went into his room and saw him with 2 legs. Miracle! However, there are a few holes in this story. For starters, if somebody had a gangrenous limb, they wouldn't have lasted 50 days of travel and would have been dead by sepsis long before. He could have simply stayed in Zaragoza and had his broken leg healed. Since he was a professional beggar by that point, a sad story would have helped out his claims. So, he could have bound his leg to appear as if he had had it amputated, and after he went back home and continued begging, his mother went into the room at the wrong time, and he resorted to calling it a miracle as an explanation.
Who's that? Who's that? What you want?
Police. We've had some complaints about con men pretending to be blind and crippled.
Oh, I'd love to help you, man, but I ain't seen nothing since I stepped on that landmine in Viet Cong back in 72. It was rough, very painful. I can see! I can see! I have legs! Oh, shit, look at this! Man! I can walk! Jesus! Praise Jesus!
All this stuff is mocked by the godless internet, by godless internet users on sites like YouTube and Facebook and Yahoo Answers. Everything's all like, well, there's a theory for that. There's a theory for that. That wasn't anything a miracle. There's a theory for that. Everything's a nice fucking scientific theory.
Yes, having a theory that is dependent on known phenomena and evidence is better than assuming the existence of an omnipotent intelligence that we have no evidence for. If you want God to be accepted over other theories, you will need to provide evidence for your God.
Let me tell you something. They want to ban God from schools. Atheists, these evolutionists, they want to ban God from schools so that way they can justify their fucking monster experiment-like behavior. You know? Hey, you know, yeah, we're gonna create monsters. Yeah, we evolved from monkeys. We're gonna become monkey men.
Charming. Look, I don't want to ban God from schools. If you want to believe and pray, go for it. You should be allowed to believe whatever you want. Just don't expect to force it on the rest of the student body. Don't use it to interrupt class. And you can't use God as an explanation in science classes because there is no scientific reason to accept the God claim.
Yeah. Here's another thing. Number 7. Big Bang. Something cannot come from nothing. It's that simple. You know, atheists think Big Bang, you know, everything happened because everything just exploded and that's how life started. Earth was a rock, and then it started raining, and grass started growing magically, and we were these little tiny cells. Yeah, oh yeah, that's real smart, atheists. That's real smart, you evolutionists. You know? So yeah, something cannot come from nothing.
Okay, you have 2 different arguments going here. First off, the Big Bang. the initial expansion of the universe? No, we don't know what caused it. Yet. We do know that an expansion of an incredibly dense and incredibly hot universe from a single starting point is consistent with the evidence that we have now. Specifically, the background radiation, the current expansion of the universe, and the percentage of deuterium found in the universe all point to the initial expansion of the universe. Even if we don't know the cause of something, we can still say an event occurred if we have evidence for that event. If I get hit with a snowball while outside, I don't need to know how the snow was composed, who made the snowball, or how it was launched to know it happened. The snow dripping off me is evidence enough that it occurred. Second, grass growing before cells? You do realize that grass, and other plant life, is made up of cells too, right? According to Jeremy England's work, self-replicating molecules eventually became the first cells, and over billions of years of mutations over countless generations resulted in both plant and animal matter.
Here's another thing. There are no human settlements that date back 10,000 years. You know, mankind, they left behind pyramids of Egypt. That was about 4,500 years ago. The Great Wall of China, which is about 2,700 years ago. All the human settlements, if we've been around for millions of years, we would have seen some human settlements dating back to like what? You know, a couple million years ago. But no, everything that's in the Bible, in the Quran, in the religious books, whatever you want, whatever your faith is, everything goes back. That the earliest human settlements was like 6,000-7,000 years ago, you know, around that time.
The oldest human remains found are from Jebel Arund, which are dated to be around 300,000 years old, a touch older than the 10,000 you brought up. Here's the thing, civilizations rise and fall all the time. Yes, we've come a long way in the past few millennia, but humans have been around a lot longer than the concept of civilization. We were hunter-gatherers long before we settled down with agriculture, the precursor to civilization.
Here's another thing. Number 9, chromosome count. No scientific evidence that a species can change the number of chromosomes within the DNA. The chromosomes what the fuck I say? The chromosomes cannot in each the chromosome count in each species is fixed. This is the reason why a male from one species cannot mate with a female from another species. So there goes that goes back to your silly monkey theory.
Again, with no specific example given, let's look at the most famous change in chromosome count, the 23 in humans compared to the 24 in other great apes. Our ancestors had 24 pairs of chromosomes, but at one point, 2 of them fused to leave us with 23. At that point, the information contained within the chromosomes was the same, meaning it could still mate with its contemporaries. Look at it like this. This is the information contained in the 2 chromosomes. When they are fused together, the information is still close enough to allow viable offspring with others of its species. Over generations, information within the chromosome changed, enough so that one group of apes could no longer breed with another group of apes from the same ancestor, at which point our ancestors became a separate species.
So yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. Evolution is a joke. I'll sooner believe that I can turn into a Super Saiyan than believe a silly theory where my ancestors are once a monkey. Oh yeah, way to go. Peace out, let me know what you think. And yeah, go ahead, leave your comments. Anything you want to bring it at me, because I'll destroy it just like that later.
It's funny. He says to leave comments that he'll destroy, but the comments seem to be disabled for this video. There's nothing wrong with that. There's all sorts of valid reasons to disable comments, but to do so in a video asking people to leave comments, that's just weird.
Tweeter and the Monkey Man were hard up for cash. They stayed up all night selling cocaine and hash to an undercover cop who had